Hi, and welcome back to Photoshop Elements Imaging Techniques and Tips. I'm your host, Ken Keith. A big hello to those of you in the local users group and those of you who are visiting with us on Vimeo and YouTube here in the US and around the world. Well, today I thought we'd look at a product. This is one of the infrequent reviews that I do of those things that I think you might have some interest in. And today we're going to talk about the Sigma EF-610 DG standard flash, and this particular one is for Nikon ITTL. It's also available for Canon and Sony, and it has a guide number of 61, hence the designation 610. And in case you're not familiar with these guide numbers, this is a metric guide number, and of course I still think in terms of the English system, and to convert that to English system is by simply multiplying 61 times 3.3, and that gives you a guide number of 201 in feet rather than the 61 in meters. And that's probably the whole point in having this flash, is its raw power. Now, there's not much out there that has this kind of guide number. But a little caveat aside there, throughout the 30 years of photography, I don't know that I've ever run across a flash that with a shoe mount type that has a true guide number as published. And of course there's some variability also depending on what type of situation you're in, whether you're in a nicely lit room in a house with an 8-foot ceiling, as opposed to doing a wedding in which the walls and the ceilings are very far away from you. But I have found that generally speaking they're fairly close, within about a stop, and my flash meter shows that this really has more of a true guide number for all practical purposes of 160. Now, the total cost of this thing is $165, and that includes a flash stand that you see here on the right, and a canvas, or well, I guess it wouldn't be canvas, it's more of a nylon type of flash case. That's pretty handy for storage. Now, I like the feel of this flash. It feels very well built, and it has something of a rubberized coating, and it has ribbed surfaces which make it really easy to grip, and you can see that ribbing here on the flash head, and there's some here on the body. Now, it has a zoom head, and that's motorized, and it also has a flip-out catch light panel, which is handy. And we used to use a 3x5 index card and made a bounce card, and now they have the little built-in flash panels, which is pretty handy. It also has a wide-angle adapter that comes out from the same area as the catch light panel. It has an autofocus assist light, and the thing weighs, without batteries, about 11 ounces, so it's pretty substantial. The head itself will tilt from 7 degrees down to 90 degrees up. You have a locking button for both bounce and swivel, and it swivels 180 degrees to the left and 90 degrees to the right. By the way, the little flash stand makes it handy if you're going to mount it, say with a slave or something, on a flat surface, as it is here. But underneath the flash stand, it's also threaded for a 1/4 by 20 flash stand attachment, and that makes it handy there if you're going to use it off camera. And speaking of off camera, if you want to use this up on a bracket or still attached to the camera, you're going to have to get a sync cord, not a PC type, but a dedicated one, so that you have all its TTL functions. There is no ports on the flash body to attach it via sync cord. If you take a look on the back of the flash, it's really simple. You see that you have a test button and a ready light, or a flash confirmation light, the power switch that has positions for TTL, manual high, and manual low. So in TTL you would get normal TTL functions with your camera, and then if you want to run it manual, either on camera or off, you set it to high and you get the full power of the flash. If you set it to manual low, that is about a ratio of a 1/16 power there. Now the zoom head, these little diodes on the back, it shows 24 to 105, and that would be the length of a lens. I'm sorry, I had a little cold today. A length of a lens on a full frame digital or a film camera, and the equivalent of that would be 16 millimeters to 70 millimeters in the ASPC or DX format, as Nikon calls it. And if you drop down the wide angle panel, then that'll get you down to about 12 millimeters. Yeah. So here is something that that the instructions don't tell you, and that is, when you take the flash off your camera, whatever setting your lens was at the time it was dismounted will remain on the flash. So if you are using the regular DX format camera and you have the lens set at 18 millimeters, that is it's going to show on your diode down at 24, so it'll actually be there, and you cannot make a manual adjustment to the zoom head position once it is off the camera. So if you wanted to, let's say, mount this to a flash stand with an umbrella holder, and for the flash, you would probably want the distribution of light to be at its widest. So put the flash on the camera, rack your lens back to 18 or wider if you have a wider lens, turn your camera off, the flash off, dismount it and put it on the stand, and your diode will show that the flash head is in its widest angle position. Okay. Right, so we're talking about the use of this flash. Now, it does not have the sophisticated commander modes and all that the Nikons and the Canons, for example, the Nikon 700 or the 900 or the 800 series, and those Speedlights are not as powerful, but they do have other features that are not available here. And if you wanted to have most of those features, however, you could step up to the EF-610 Super, which goes for about $255. And those of you who are familiar with Nikons and Canons, the 580 EX2, the SB900, those are flashes that are in the $450 to $500 range, and there's not really much in the way of powerful shoe mount flashes down in below $200 or $300. If you're looking at a Metz 58, which is less powerful, its standard one is about $350, and then once you go up the power from there, you're looking at something like a Lumidyne system, or a Q flash, and now we're talking in the neighborhood of $1,000 or so. Now this is a very interesting flash. I think it's quite useful for power, especially if you're a photographer that's starting off and you're doing something like a wedding, and it's handy to have this extra power for bounce applications, especially using this as in lieu of a strobe. It's something to consider. Now, if you're looking at some more featured flashes, some of the popular ones are the Sunpack PZ42X and the Vivitar 383, the digital version of that. Both of those are nice. They run about 2/3 or one stop lower power than the EF-610, but they are nice in having full control over EV, the zoom head position, and also you have a power ratio on those that run for anywhere from 1:1 down to like 1/64. So in those respects, they are handier and have more features, and they're at about the $130 range. So I wanted to chat with you about this flash in case you're interested. Once again, you can find them at the big box stores like Adorama, B&H at about $165. I think they're a good investment if you need a flash with a lot of power, and you don't need still something that has a lot of functions. But even if you go to the Super Flash, you're still talking about $255, which is approximately half of the price of the upper end Nikon and Canon flashes. So I hope you have a really good week. Take care, and we will talk again. Bye.